Cue the panic. Bottled water hordes, garages full of gasoline, entire bunkers of Chef Boyardee. Religious folks even spun it as a potential rapture because apparently Jesus is big on digital yearbugs. Then the ball dropped in Times Square, computers said 00, and absolutely nothing.
However, the wall clock at the Bessler accounting firm in Cleveland, Ohio did blow a fuse. Appointments were rescheduled, no one was injured. According to Letterboxd.com, which actor publicly said to the network, "Thank you for putting me in this piece of shit, god-awful movie. It was just what my career needed." A. John Cusack for One Crazy Summer. B. Gina Davis for Earth Girls Are Easy. C. Halle Berry for Catwoman. Or D. Burt Reynolds for Cannonball Run 2.
I always thought it would be cool for him to collaborate with that Italian dude that does the Master Boot record stuff. Another one lighting cigars with video game royalties, but I digress.
They could call it Mega Boot. It's got to be a challenging job, too, getting those late night calls. The Bob's machine perforated one of its nipple sleeves.
The Nipple Sleeves is such an underrated punk band, by the way.
This is the Snaggletoon Rock and Roll Podcast.
Maintaining your composure. You ever think about the qualifications it takes to be the maintenance man? I mean, I know this is 2025, so you have to also consider maintenance women to be in play. Yeah, it's 2025. We've evolved. We say maintenance person now. Progress. It's right up there with snow woman and fisher person, I guess.
I mean, you have to be able to fix anything that could go wrong, don't you? How do you even train for a job like that? All day long, you're fixing leaks, installing fluorescent light bulbs, unclogging toilets. Then you're MacGyvering a conveyor belt with a paperclip. That sort of thing. You're the man with that big bundle of keys that jingle all the way, and a flashlight and WD-40 attached to your belt for some reason. Your office's glorified utility closet packed with no windows, littered with parts catalogs, ratchet sets, and oil filters scattered all over the place. Ever hear something described as maintenance free? Even the little mini dustbuster comes with an instruction manual that says, strongly stresses keeping that little filter clean. Even your toothbrush, you gotta rinse that sucker out once in a while.
I imagine as the maintenance man, even if you can't fix something, you're expected to know who to call when the compressor starts to smoke, the forklift flips over, or the press blows a gasket. It's got to be a challenging job, too, getting those late night calls. The Bob's machine perforated one of its nipple sleeves.
The Nipple Sleeves is such an underrated punk band, by the way.
Good point.
Also, it's not like you can complain to your wife about attaching robot arms or how long it took you to unclog the electrostatic separators because nobody pays attention to temperature gauges.
Hey, come to think of it, could you be a high maintenance man? Is that such a thing? I'm not installing any more fuses until people around here learn how to turn lights off. Or something like, I'm not fixing the condensers until somebody gets me a tool belt that doesn't chafe.
Ever get those emails from your IT department? The system will be undergoing regular maintenance on Sunday, April 14th from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Somewhere there's a weirdo going, oh man, I do my best work on Excel pivot table sorcery on Sundays after 3. Also, those guys doing maintenance, willing to bet they don't have cool tool belts or change their own oil. Just a bunch of Geek Squad pencil pocket protector types.
Is groundskeeper the same as maintenance man? Somehow that title seems grandiose, like you're responsible for the overflowing toilet, and also you have to deal with the squirrels that are chewing on the power lines outside. Keeper is an interesting profession. You have groundskeeper, beekeeper, innkeeper, trapper keeper. I guess we're all the maintenance person of our home. Like me watching 10 YouTube videos to decide if I want to replace my taillight bulb in the car or just have the mechanic do it. I'll give you a hint. If there's more than 19 steps and 3 special tools required, it ain't going to be done by me. I don't know if I could be a maintenance man after all. I can't maintain speed limit, maintain my balance, maintain my relationships. I can't even maintain eye contact very well. Enough said.
You ever notice how high maintenance is basically code for this person knows what they like and refuses to settle? We should all be so lucky. People love to say she's so high maintenance. Botox, Pilates, the hair, the nails. Yeah? And meanwhile, the guy saying it owns a fishing boat, 3 streaming services he never uses, and a set of golf clubs worth like half a year's salary. And Botox? That's just high tech wrinkle spackle. The alternative is gravity, and gravity is undefeated. Sorry. And hair appointments?
Oh, please. You know what's truly high maintenance. A beard that needs beard oil, a beard guy to trim it, conditioner, and a 15-minute selfie to prove you just woke up like this. Look, everybody's high maintenance in their own weird lane. Some folks collect sneakers, band shirts, state quarters. Some need their own craft IPA flown in from a single barley field in Vermont. So next time someone drops the high maintenance bomb, just nod and say, yup, and worth every penny, my friend. Want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with Victoria Roy and David Bunch from the North Carolina based alt-goth band Winfield. We have a fascinating chat with Victoria and David covering the stories behind our favorite tracks from their new album, 3. We get into song construction, production tricks, the making of their bizarre video for Autonomy, and how their song Giant became their top money maker so far. So stay tuned for that.
Now let's play a little. This is Winfield with Static. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/snaggletoothpodcast. And for $6.66 a month, you get a riding lawnmower with a surprisingly powerful towing capacity full of market stays.
Yeah, we're always trying to improve things. This week we are debuting a new camera that is
Hopefully it'll be better.
it looks a little fancier than the original dude we've had for a long time. So hopefully you notice improvement.
The old war horse. I love that phrase. Yeah, it's big.
So, if you'd like to get more exclusive content that we just share with our Patreons, it costs less than your cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, I guarantee it.
A trip to Dunkin' sounds really good right now because I think it's time. I'd much rather be there. Hit it.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
Okay, Obnoxious Trivia.
I'm scared a little.
Episode 23. I put the usual no effort into this and we will learn nothing. Okay. Number 1. According to letterboxd.com, which actor publicly said to the network, "Thank you for putting me in this piece of shit, god-awful movie. It was just what my career needed." A. John Cusack for One Crazy Summer. B. Gina Davis for Earth Girls Are Easy. C. Halle Berry for Catwoman. Or D. Burt Reynolds for Cannonball Run 2. Piece of shit, god-awful movie.
I'm going to go with D. Burt Reynolds for Cannonball Run.
That is a piece of shit, god-awful movie, but that is incorrect. It was actually Halle Berry for Catwoman.
Well, you threw me off because you said actor. So I figured
If I say actor or actress, I didn't want to give it away.
Well, you should, you could have said actor or actress, but I assumed you flubbed up and shared your
I did not flub. See? We're suspicious of flubness. There will be no flubness, and we will learn nothing. Okay. Which of the following appliances were recalled due to them being a safety hazard? The Panasonic IR7 bread maker, the Waring 2.5 quart food processor, the Cadco OV003 compact convection oven, or D, the Greater Goods digital kitchen scale.
Panasonic does not make a bread maker. I tell you that right now. I've owned a few bread makers in my life. They're none by Panasonic.
I'm not a bread maker. She owns me.
I don't think a digital kitchen scale could be a safety hazard. I'll go with the compact convection oven.
I'm sorry, you're 0 for 2. It was actually the Greater Goods digital kitchen scale. Do you know why it was a safety hazard? Because the batteries, there were little button batteries, they'd fall out and the kids could choke on them.
The kids could choke on them.
See, you were thinking fire, see?
Or
It's
explosions.
a different kind
or
of safety hazard. The
CO2 poisoning.
kids can eat the batteries, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, number 3. Which of these items was purchased at an auction in 2022 for $50,000? A roll of toilet paper from the set of Mary Hartman. B, a left-footed Air Jordan. C, a snuff case that once belonged to Teddy Roosevelt. Or D, the stopwatch from the original 60 Minutes.
I don't think there was any roll of toilet paper in Mary Hartman. I don't know why would anybody want one left-footed Air Jordan. I'll go with the snuff case that belonged to Teddy Roosevelt. Kidding?
It was a left-footed Air Jordan because it was one of the prototypes. It was one of the very first Air Jordans ever.
Wow.
So even just having one of them, people were willing to pay anything for it.
What do you do with it? Drink beer out of it?
I have no idea. Why would you want one
Like
shoe?
beer?
$50,000 for one shoe, but that's from the Guinness Book of World Records website. So
Wow. Well, maybe if another 50,000, you can get the other one.
there is only one. It's lost in the ether. Okay, let's roll it in. Here we go. Number 4. Which of the following animal facts is true according to treehugger.com? I might have trouble getting. A parakeet in Clinton, South Carolina picked up a southern accent. B, the natural color of octopus blood is milky orange. C, the human brain generates enough electricity to power a 60-watt light bulb. Or D, the punch of a mantis shrimp can break glass.
Wow. I have not one clue here. I want to say it's definitely plausible a parakeet could pick up a southern accent from my favorite bird lady who keeps telling baby bird good job, and now he says good job. So I want to say that's plausible. I don't know about octopus blood. It seems like a human brain should be able to do more than generate a 60-watt light bulb. All right, I'll go with D.
Ding, 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 you're right.
Oh my God.
They have to keep those shrimp in thick plastic aquariums because they can they
Wow.
break glass.
Wow.
Their claw punch is so fast. Yeah.
Wow.
So hey, you pulled one out at the end. All right, very good.
One.
I didn't think you'd get that one. Wow. Yeah.
Not a complete failure.
All right. Stace goes 1 for 4. This has been Obnoxious Trivia. I can't believe you got that. Shrimp that can break glass. Isn't that insane?
Oh, that seems.
Oh, I almost went with there was an animal fact that was butterflies taste with their feet. They can taste with their feet. It's literally like they're tasting when they're on flowers, you know. And I thought the shrimp that can punch through glass was even more weird. So.
I know we raised butterflies when the kids were little and we got the caterpillars and watched them cocoon and they came out as butterflies.
Did you know they taste with their feet?
Well, we were feeding them oranges and they stick this little proboscis down in there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was better to go with the punching. Okay, it's time for our Snaggletoon, and we're going to talk about how we survived 18 of the last 0 apocalypses.
So what happens when you have a vision that predicts doomsday or may playfully predict the rapture? Fun fact, the word rapture is not in the Bible.
It isn't a Blondie song, though.
It is. So suicide cults aside, what do you do when your prediction day comes and goes and, well, nothing? Do you just pop back up like, oh, right, look, I forgot to carry the 1. My bad, universe. Anyway, so let's talk about some failed predictions. The first one is the prophet hen of Leeds. Imagine how surprised you'd be if one of your hens suddenly started laying eggs with messages on them. We're not talking cute fortune cookie type messages here either. We're talking eggs with the ominous phrase, Christ is coming on them. Well, that's exactly what happened in the English town of Leeds in the early 1800s. The townsfolk lose it. Judgment Day via omelet.
This egg says, I took a shit in the mashed potatoes. But in the end, it turned out that Mary Bateman, dubbed the Yorkshire Witch, was handwriting these messages with acid and putting them back up into the hen. Hey, Ben, how come all the chickens have a dazed look on their face? Any idea? They're all woozy and they're walking funny. Wait, this egg says, stop playing with yourself. What could it mean?
The blood moon prophecy. Joel in the Bible says the moon will turn to blood. Fast forward. 2 ministers claim 4 straight blood moons in 2014 into 2015 equals world-ending doom, when somehow linked to the Jewish holidays. In actuality, a tetrad, which is a series of 4 consecutive blood moons, is not that uncommon, you adults. 62 tetrads have occurred since the 1st century AD, according to the website Earth Sky. So sorry, gents, you have to do all the math, not just the parts you think are cute. It's like the song goes, 62 tetrads and your mom's still drunk. No wonder it won a Grammy.
This is awfully close to education. I'm not enjoying it. The Mayan apocalypse. Unlike Abrahamic religions, the Mayans believed the world worked in cycles, like a dishwasher. The end of one such cycle, or count, was set to occur on December 21st, 2012. Many people misinterpreted this to mean that the end of the world was going to occur on that date. They thought Earth might collide with a hidden planet called Nibiru. How do we know about it if it's hidden? And what is big enough for a planet to hide behind? Or there would be a tidal catastrophe related to planetary alignments. None of this happened, of course, since the calendar simply indicated that a new cycle was starting. Plus, there were spots in the glasses after their end cycle. Next time, Cascade.
True Wei, Taiwanese religious leader Hong Ming-chen established Chen Dao, or True Wei, a religious movement that blended elements of Christianity, Buddhism, UFO conspiracy theories, and a Taiwanese folk religion. I mean, what could go wrong with the mashup of these ingredients? Chen preached that God would appear to the U.S. television channel 18 on March 25th, 1988, to announce that he would descend to Earth the following week in a physical form identical to Chen. Kind of convenient for Chen. Plus, what network was able to get rights to this telecast? I mean, the commercials alone.
So he went and booked himself on TV and then made himself into God. I got a booking. I got to make the most of this. Anyway, the following year, he prophesied millions of devil spirits, together with massive flooding, would result in mass extinction of the human population. Followers could be spared by buying their way aboard spaceships disguised as clouds, sent to rescue them. I guess we all have a different idea of saving to the cloud, don't we? Okay. Christ's Kingdom, 1914 edition. Jehovah's Witnesses spent decades circling one date on calendar, 1914. This was the year Christ would return to Earth and the world would hit the cosmic off switch. They went door to door with all the urgency of the salesman from Glengarry Glen Ross. Repent now. Limited time offer. Then 1914 shows up and no rapture. No flaming sky. I guess they didn't have the brass balls the apocalypse required. Coffee's for closers, right? ABC, always be cobbling.
Y2K, the apocalypse with a loading bar. Back in the 80s, computer nerds noticed a tiny coding quirk. Dates only had 2 digits. So when the calendar flipped from 99 to 00, computers would think it was 1900. Translation? Planes would fall, power grids would fry, and we'd all be clubbing each other for firewood by January 1st, 2000. Cue the panic. Bottled water hordes, garages full of gasoline, entire bunkers of Chef Boyardee. Religious folks even spun it as a potential rapture because apparently Jesus is big on digital earbuds. Then the ball dropped in Times Square, computers said 00, and absolutely nothing.
However, the wall clock at the Bessler accounting firm in Cleveland, Ohio did blow a fuse. Appointments were rescheduled. No one was injured. Stephen Hawking warned AI could destroy us all. Hi, ChatGPT. We're friends, right? Ha 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 ha. See, the thing is, few people know. I know a lot about ChatGPT. All you have to do is tell Skynet to draw a girl with a hoodie on backwards. Try it. I'm telling you, you can't do it. Or a water fountain squirting someone in the face. Try it. You can't do it. AI is instantly defeated. Remember the end of War Games? That was nothing. Okay, I can't take it anymore. Let's play a song. This is 1 + 1 + 1.
Whispers when we talk, hands cupped to disguise what we said, passing through the air, staring through the void of a blank screen. Don't promise or pretend. The damage only hurts when we're listening.
let's talk about Hum Nutrition.
Hum Nutrition is a great company out of California. We use them for our supplements. You can go on and take your quiz and find out what's good for you. They have lots of supplements from concerns to if you need thicker, fuller hair and better looking skin, if you have acne problems, if you're pregnant, if you have a bad hoo-hoo. They even have womb service.
I never met a bad hoo-hoo.
I'm sorry, that one's called private party. Womb service is the prenatal.
Okay, right.
Anyway, so we love their apple cider gummies. It's a lot better than doing shots of apple cider, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
They also have a new GPL. So if you, rather than inject yourself with that O drug, which I won't mention,
Chat GPL.
no, it's a whole different thing.
Okay.
It helps with metabolism and curbing your appetite. You just add a little bit into your smoothie. They've got scads of things, and if you're not sure what's right for you, they even have dermatologists on call that you can ask questions of as far as that. They'll even ask you if you're taking a bunch of supplements, if they work together or not.
What's a supplement that you take so you can find out what primetime show the apocalypse is going to be on?
I think that's called TikTok.
Okay.
But at any rate, use our link. It will save you off your first order. So get over there and you too can find the supplements that'll make your body do what you want it to do.
Okay. It's time for Collecturbation. And this week, it's a classic from Hermano 2002's Only a Suggestion.
There
Anyway.
just aren't enough good things we can say about the Kentucky-born polymath musician known as Dave Angstrom. If the name sounds familiar, it's because we did a gushing Collecturbation segment about a year back on his band Superfuzz, particularly their pogoing rocking album from the 2000s, All About the Rock. He's one of those players like John Reese or Pepper Keenan, where their involvement in any project piques our interest.
Reese or Rice? That's what I said, Amanda Reese. Reese, Rice, Reese. I'm sure I covered this back in our Superfuzz feature, but this is my opinion. Dave should have gotten that Queens of the Stone Age paycheck money. He had it first. His Pretty Blank Page album was way ahead of its time, and Josh Homme's. A completely spannered violation of blues and boogie rock, full of quirk and swagger and Mine's Bigger Than Yours lyrics. He actually named his label Mine's Bigger Than Yours. Look it up. Anyway, these guys should have been the biggest things since the Dixie Cup. But despite their brilliance of the first two Superfuzz records, the tiny Gotham Records imprint that they were on couldn't give them enough exposure. And like his first band, Black Cat Bone, they all remain obscure classics.
After some stops and starts, including some jamming with ex-Black Crowes bassist Johnny Colt, Angstrom was contacted by producer and songwriter Danny Brown about a band he was looking to assemble, comprised of Angstrom along with legendary Caius vocalist John Garcia. They formed Hermano, effectively exposing Angstrom's stellar talents to a much larger audience than his prior projects had attained. It's a short album, particularly for this genre, with 8 tracks spanning a scant 27 minutes. But don't mistake brevity for banality. Garcia's Technicolor vocals are the perfect foil to Dave's stinging riff craft and lead acumen. The impeccable grooves present on the Superfuzz records are here in spades. The tempo's less herky and playful, but still infectious. Let's hear an example. This is The Bottle.
How great does that riff feel? Full of fuzz and wah, and Dave sweating blues shards out of every pore of his body and snaky leads. Then you put Garcia's cigarette-baked 14-karat vocal on top of it, and you've got a sound that dispels any notion of what a supergroup should sound like. There's an abstract sense of depth, fearlessness, and heavy drinking to this record that brings me back to it again and again, and The Bottle is a big part of it.
It's not all Sabbathy dirge either. Manager Special is an up-tempo burner with stutter-stepping riffs from Angstrom, the springboard for Garcia's please baby, ride baby vocal shenanigans. Drummer Steve Earle, Afghan wigs, bashes the bejesus out of everything in sight. Angstrom's stop-start guitar stunts blinking in and out of each channel to marvelous effect. Landetta, Motherlode, shifts from hook-heavy verse to head-slamming riff for the chorus in one of the album's coolest songwriting transitions. This four-piece bounding along on 8 cylinders, but the one that will snare you in the clutches of its flange and gorge pulse is undoubtedly Senor Monroe's Plan, a beat that doesn't groove as much as it saunters, all the oral flavors of Garcia's croon, Angstrom's golden tone, and Earl's deft strikes, swirling together in a truly killer tune that I can't get enough of to this day.
The good news is the band did reconvene recently for a new EP, 2024's When the Moon Was High. Well, it's only 2 new songs, but they've obviously cut from the same tobacco and whiskey stained cloth as this one, so don't miss out on it. It's got me thinking maybe we should get Mr. Angstrom on the show for an interview so we can find out how he feels about missing out on that Queens of the Stone Age money. If there was any justice in the world of rock and roll, Angstrom would be a household name and paid like he invented the electric nose picker. This is Senor Marino's Plan.
Just what I mean when you're riding the boat, and what I've seen when you're licking the road, then what you are when you're stuck in your bed, then what you are when you're stuck in your head. Oh yeah. Well, alright. Whoa.
What you're seeing?
This was our interview with Winfield. This was your find. I got thoroughly hooked on their sound, which is very cult-like, but Victoria's vocals are so dreamy. And I really like how the album really has such a variety of songs that we'll talk about, kind of how it starts off kind of dancey, and then by the end it kind of changes vibe. So it's a really neat album. If you haven't checked out Winfield, you might want to start with their back catalog, but 3 is an excellent album.
Okay, take it away.
But anyway, we're glad we got to talk to you guys. Been
Yeah, good to
loving
hear.
the album.
Yes, we have.
Really different. Just stuff, that sounds like the 80s and 90s, but with this modern twist. And I like how you start the album kind of like with like the punchier songs, and by the end you kind of got you go off on like this beautiful outro. So it's neat. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So you formed in 2017. So what kind of was the spark that got you going together? Were you in other projects previously and just were like, no, this is it?
Yeah. So it started, Kent and Brad, they got together, and I'm pretty sure they contacted each other via Craigslist, but they also knew they had some mutual acquaintances that were, that played music, and so they had gotten together and started playing. They auditioned a couple of drummers, and then I moved from New York in the spring, really winter of 2016. And, since I've been an adult, one of the things I do to get, when I move somewhere, I find my social scene via music. And so I started looking for bands, and they had an ad out, and they very much wanted someone that they could hang out with and could be friends with, but they really wanted to be serious about writing and seeing what we could do. And I don't think at that point there was any like real, it really was just like, hey, let's get together and write and play and see how it goes. And then certainly by the time we invited Tori to join us, we were like, okay, you know what? I think this is a band, and we had written some things, but we hadn't played any shows. And
yeah, it was cool because when they so I'm friends with Kent. We both live in the same town and just mutual circle of friends. And he reached out to me and they were all together and they were kind of going in two different directions at the time. Like they had put together some electronic, um, just like riffs and
Yeah.
just like some samples.
That didn't
and,
involve me. It
Yeah.
had drum machine and yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
and then some rock songs that you were on.
Right.
And they were just kind of like asking me what I was feeling and what was reaching out to me, and the rock was reaching out to me. So it was because it's funny because I really only started singing back in like 2012 or 13 ever. So that was like a kind of relatively still new. I'm from Hillsborough and I just started doing like these brunches at the local food co-op, and then I would get into like just guest singing in different bands. And then there was a local the Squirrel Nut Zippers are based out of Chapel Hill. You probably know them.
Yep.
I knew Tom Maxwell, and he would like have his sets, and he would give me the second set, and we would do like just old covers. Like, I mean, we would range from like Mazzy Star to like old Delta blues, just just all over the place. And so I had only been in like one band before they invited me. Never a band where like from the beginning, from the inception. So that was cool.
yeah. And the three of us, we were all, felt we had been in bands throughout our lives, here and there, off and on, and none of us had had a female front. And we all, I think, the music just kind of lended itself to it. And Brad has sang in his other bands, but he really wasn't interested in it. I mean, he does do, vocals in Winfield for sure, but he wasn't interested in being, the front person. He did not want to be the lead singer. And yeah, and we really didn't audition people. Kent was like, "Well, let me call Tori and see if she's interested in what she told you." And then she came in and had I don't know, 2 or 3 practices, and it just started.
Yeah,
it just started working.
Yeah, and then it's just like now. I mean, we all like each other, and we all like hanging out with
Yeah.
each other, which is so important, right? And and we are very much like brothers and sister.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we I think that was a big part of it, for all of us. It was like, this is not something we knew we weren't going to be, we weren't going to become, we weren't going to drop all of our jobs and get in a van, but we knew we were going to spend time together. We knew we all wanted to have created, similar creative juices flowing, and, and all kind of working in the same direction. But yeah, I think being able to tolerate each other and
It's important. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So, well, if you've been in any bands, I mean, it can be tough if there's even just one person that, people don't get along with. So I've been fortunate to be pretty close with all the people in my bands over the years, but yeah, that was important to all of us. So, and then, yeah, I think just kind of natural progression that, I think we've been writing different kinds of stuff over the years. I don't know if you listen to Giant or the second album. They've definitely evolved. There's a through line there too. But yeah, 3 is really, you were right. It definitely starts one way and then ends in another way. And we all and Kent is excellent. He actually used to work at a radio station, and he's like one of those guys, just master playlist maker. I'm sure the mixtapes he used to make back in high school were off the chain.
I still have his. So he had a radio show in Hillsborough on WHUP, and I still have, like, he has all of his shows. The playlists are saved on Spotify.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I still listen to them.
Yeah. So he's good at ordering songs. Once we decide, hey, here's our 7 tracks that we want to record. I mean, sure, we all discuss it, but I do think Kent's he's got a knack for that kind of thing, or how things should progress. So I feel like we should give him credit for a lot of that, for how the album flows.
Yeah, it's good because the first couple of tracks really pull you in, and by the time you're hooked, you're kind of spellbound for the end. So it works
Yeah,
really
yeah.
well.
Yeah, I love it.
So I read a lot of different style comparisons for Winfield, from post-punk to goth rock to even one said just punk rock, which I thought was interesting. Who's the goth one, and how gothy do you think Winfield really is?
Goth.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. So Brad and Kent,
Mhm.
and I am like a late bloomer. They lived. They're older than us by a bit, so they kind of grew up during that time when, I mean, the influences, from like Sisters of Mercy and Bauhaus, and obviously like The Cure and
Joy Division.
Susie and Joy Division, New Order, all of that. I mean, they could. I wish they were here because they could just like go on and on and on. But I think it's interesting that for me, I was younger and I wasn't introduced to any of that music when I was younger. Like, had no idea about any of it. And so now, this is like before I started with Winfield. I was in New York City with my sister and her husband at the time, Carl, and we were drinking late at night, and his record collection is absolutely insane. He grew up in New York City, like in the 80s. So he saw everything, and we listened. I mean, that was like kind of like my first experience or my introduction to punk rock. We listened to the Stooges and the Dead Boys. I mean, it just all these things for the first time. I think when I heard I Want to Be Your Dog, like something inside of me was like, what is happening? And so that was like kind of like an introduction to punk rock for me. But then through Kent and Brad, actually my bandmates, like I really loved The Cure and Joy Division. And then through Kent and Brad and my husband, who I was like meeting at the time, who also is older than me by 10 or like 8 years, his record collection is insane. So throughout like the past 7 years, really for me, like I have fallen in love with all of like the, original goth artists, like all of those influences. I love Sisters of Mercy. I love Joy Division. I love Susie. We have like this local DJ 20th Century Boy. He puts on these goth nights and in Hillsborough, in our hometown, and we're like a small rural country town. I mean, it's developing definitely more now, but I grew up here in this town, and to have like goth night in our town where there's like you move here to retire or have children, like in our town, and we dress up and we go out, and there's something that was ignited in me with that kind of music that I didn't find until later in life, which is pretty cool. And to like, it's just like a different experience growing up. And just if you had that influence, like Michael, my husband, his older brother had, like records, and he just like, he was introduced to that from a very young age. And for me, it like wasn't until I was in my 30s, to find that. But I'd say like better late than never, like just to be able to experience and to find that in my life. I'm so grateful. So like I'm a lover of that music, but Kent and Brad, the influence of the band, it started with them.
For sure.
And So it's nice that we all have like we can share that
Yeah.
love and music, and also like they can share it with us. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they're definitely more
yeah, 'cause-
audiophiles.
yeah, and your background.
Yeah, I grew up listening to metal, and I liked some of the goth scene. I definitely liked The Cure back in high school a good bit, but I didn't listen to a ton of Joy Division or Bauhaus, um, any of that. I mean, some of it I did. You know, I knew them and I listened. You know, I had friends that liked them all right, and I didn't dislike them, but I also wasn't like over the moon. That's not what I was rocking when I was driving around in high school. Yeah. Yeah.
I dated this girl in college, and her roommate was a total goth, and I found the drawer where she had all her tapes and CDs of Skinny Puppy and The Cure and Bauhaus and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Friday night, I took it home with me, and I was going to dub everything before she got back to school on Monday morning. So I
Right.
got
Yeah.
to school that Monday, and everybody's like, "You look exhausted," and I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't slept in 2 days 'cause
Yeah.
I was busy dubbing
Yeah.
72 albums." You know, it was.
Yeah.
This
That's
was in like
awesome.
1992 or something. You know, this
It
wasn't
was a
the
time.
era of quick dubbing. It was deck to
There's
deck. So,
cool. There's a cool story that my husband likes to tell when so he had family. He's from Myrtle Beach, and
mm,
he has family like up in Massachusetts, and they would go drive through, you know, and stay at his family's place, and he would just stay up all night dubbing the local like the local college radio, or you know,
yeah,
just so that he could have access to like something new and different.
right,
And so he
right.
like wouldn't get any sleep, you know, when he's on his
Yeah,
family vacations. That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a different time for sure. And people of this generation, they don't realize how easy the access is to anything they want to hear.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can remember um, when my friends would break up with girlfriends, and I'd be like, "She's got my Ramones album.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I need that back."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you weren't getting it back. And it was just like, damn it, like don't ever leave music with someone you're dating. You might never get
Right.
it back again.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
definitely,
imagine.
the value, I mean, obviously monetarily, you know, saving up $15 to get a
yeah,
CD or
right.
something, you know, it meant something, and getting home and looking at the liner notes and all that stuff.
All that stuff. Yeah, it really
You
did.
know, there was value beyond just how much you had to pay just to listen to a record. You know, there was just,
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up, I loved Tool, still do, but I remember, you know, as a kid, they were so mysterious, you know, because they
Yeah.
didn't show up in the videos, and so like any picture I could see of them, I'd just be like, oh my god, you know, I'd see a picture, you know, I'd wait for Danny Carey's Modern Drummer, you know, there'd be rumors that he was going to be on next month, and I just like go to the
That's
newsstand
funny.
waiting for that thing, and then I like just put the pictures up in my room, and those were like, that's all he was, you know, and now it's like there's just hours and hours of, you know, yeah, it is a different world. I mean, it's like that with everything. Just the amount of exposure that everything has now is
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. So
So I love the name Winfield. Fun fact, I had a cat named Winfield after
oh,
Dave
did you?
Winfield. I did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
For
you
a
yeah.
long time. He was pretty bad. He peed in my ex-husband's shoes one time, and I had to put the cat in the car so my ex-husband didn't kill him while I calmed him
I
down.
wouldn't be happy with that either. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
where
that,
kind of did the name come from? I'm guessing not Dave Winfield like us.
no, no, we're not Yankees fans. Oddly enough, and there are really strange coincidences with Tori and I. It is both of our middle name.
Oh,
We're,
okay. Wow, that's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah,
it is strange because it's a last name, right?
it is.
Or a first
A
name?
first name I've heard. I mean, I was almost named Winfield because it is a family name. And my dad was like, "Oh, I think he'll be called Winnie. We better use it as a middle name." So that was my middle name. And really, what happened was, yeah, it was probably the second or third time Tori had come over for practice while we were all getting to know each other. And we were sitting outside and just started talking. And it turns out we went to the same military school in Virginia, Northern Virginia, like 8 years apart from each other. And it turns out we end up marrying two people from Myrtle Beach, who were in, I think, first grade class together. Our husband,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And then we both had the last middle name Winfield.
And we're both left-handed.
Both
I feel like
left-handed.
there's a couple other things.
Yeah,
but
there's been things, but anyway, we didn't like, wow, that's our middle names. Let's name the band
Yeah.
that. We really, gosh, we must have spent, and it was one of my favorite text threads of all time. It was like 5 months because we started talking about it once we decided, hey, Tori, you're going to be in the band. I don't know, it was probably April or May of 2017, something like that. And then we had a show at a little bar in Chapel Hill in August or September. It was right after the students came back, and we didn't have a name yet. We were like, well, we're going to need to come up with a name. So the text thread thing, we were just sending names. I mean, it was the amount, and some of them obviously were ridiculous and funny. And then some of them, we started getting like a top 10 list that somebody would always nope, we just couldn't land on it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, we got to print flyers. We don't get to we'll just do it for this show. What are we going to call it? And at some point, I do think I might have been the one that said, hey, look, Winfield, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't carry any baggage. It's not associated with anything. Like on its own, it's just Winfield. It's,
Right.
it's just, sometimes you hear that last name or something, like the baseball player.
Right.
But otherwise, that was it. And so it was Winfield for that show. And then it just kind of stuck. I think all of us were like, oh, I'm tired of thinking of a band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who cares? Like, we'll make Winfield, so, and it's stuck. And I like it. I like that it is what it is. It doesn't mean anything else. It's just the band's name.
Oh, and by the way, it was my ex-husband who was the Yankees fan, which was ironic. The cat peed in his shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a kid, there's a family that I grew up with, and they had moved from New York. And when they found out that my name was Dave Winfield, they were like, oh, your dad must be. I was like, no, not at all. He really doesn't like, I didn't really bust their bubble too much, but yeah, we were not Yankees fans at all. It just happened to be, it's the way it ended up going. So
I see the Devo thing. Okay, cool.
Art,
We
that's
just watched
true.
that
Yeah.
documentary the other night. That was crazy.
Yeah, there's a new Devo documentary.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna watch it soon. We haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's really, really well done. And you get the impression that for all they went through, boy, he made a lot of money with those Nickelodeon songs.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the real paycheck,
that
So,
was the cash
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, you never
the
know.
cash
Like,
cow, yeah.
yeah, how one thing can just make up. I mean, it'll be like you'll make make all this money off of one thing more than decades of touring.
Right. Well, I mean, like Dee Snider always jokes about that. He wrote one song for Celine Dion, and that made him more money than his entire career with Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he calls his house the house that Celine built.
Right.
From one
funny.
song. So
We're
you
gonna
never know.
we're gonna see Devo and the B-52s in Charlotte next month.
Oh,
So
cool.
I've
That's
never
awesome.
seen
Yeah.
them.
That's
So
great.
I think Fred Armisen is gonna be the drummer for Devo on this tour. There aren't many
Oh, cool.
cities that they're hitting, so I'm assuming that he's on it.
Oh, that's a great show. Yeah.
It's really good. I don't want to spoil anything, but kind of the catalyst was that whole Kent State shooting. And I started thinking, like, history doesn't repeat itself. Maybe it's not good to send the National Guard in. Maybe not.
Oh, you mean like to Baltimore and
Good idea.
yeah, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
sending the National Guard into
So, well, the last time. in
Baltimore and
60s,
New York
Chicago.
and Chicago. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway,
But anyway, well, yeah,
let's
whatever.
not get political.
Yeah.
We saw a really good show the other night. I was actually, just surprised how good it was. But I don't know if you guys have checked out Nine Inch Nails on this tour, but they were really good.
I haven't. No, I love that new song, but no, I haven't.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
it
not
was
gonna see Tron. I'm not gonna see Tron, but I like the song.
yeah, I don't know anything about like the opener. We actually didn't know anything about the opener, Boys Noise or Tron or any of that.
Mhm.
We bought tickets a long time ago because usually uh Nine Inch Nails will have like a really, really good opener. Like every time. I mean,
Yeah.
Garrett, yeah, I can't remember. I'm blanking on the openers that he's had in the past. And so we were just sort of banking on that he's gonna have a really good opener. And we
Yeah.
didn't know, yeah, Boys Noise. It was all right, but yeah, it was cool. They had 3 different stages, and yeah, Trent was like playing piano in the middle of the. It was just really this actual Nine Inch Nails show was really good. I thought.
I do remember that Pretty Hate Machine was one of the CDs in that drawer that I stole. It was one
Oh
of the
yeah,
ones that I dubbed. Yep.
yeah,
I didn't know I didn't know what it was until I heard it. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I love that Chapel Hill is full of haunted lore, spectral lovers, mischievous doctors, New York, campus ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts yourselves, and do you have a favorite local ghost story?
Gosh. Well, go ahead.
Well, so yeah, I mean, actually, so I grew up in this house that we're in right now. My dad built it in 83 when I was born. And this room that we're in, a friend of my mom's died in this room. And
Now you tell me.
yeah, yeah. He had cancer and she took care of him like in his last days. And after that, like this isn't an old house, like old house, but after that I did experience something that I do believe in them because of that experience. And so I was in the kitchen and I was just making toast, and I put the toast on the plate, and when I put the toast on the plate moved back.
Oh my god!
And
Oh,
then
wow.
and then when I put it on, when I tried to do it again, it moved again. And
Oh,
I
wow.
freaked the fuck out. And I
Yeah, I
just was
bet.
like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, I don't even know the guy's name. I remember I was thinking I need to call my mom to like find or like to ask the name so I can maybe like, talk to directly to this
Spirit.
presence.
Mhm.
And but yeah, after that I was just like, okay, looking under the plate, I'm like, is there a slope? Was there like butter underneath the plate? Just like something had to happen. Was it sliding? If it was like the one time, if it had just like moved the one time, I think that I could convince myself that there must have been something like we've had earthquakes here.
Yeah.
But the fact that it happened 2 times right in front of me, that
Oh
was,
my
yeah, that's I've had the doors have closed. I mean, that can always be airflow, I
Right,
guess.
right.
But we've had this door close on us just by itself several times. So yeah.
I think in terms of lore, I don't. I know that what you're referring in terms of. There's a lot of history down here. There's a lot of Civil War history and things. So there definitely are. It's steeped with ghost stories, but I've never been too much of a believer in them. I don't. I like them. I grew up in West Virginia, and I remember my grandmother used to read this awesome book. Was Telltale from the Lilac Bush, and there were just these little ghost stories of Appalachian ghost stories, and I used to love those. And so yeah, I feel like everywhere I've lived, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and shoot, even in New York. I mean, goodness gracious, New York is the history there. You never
Yeah,
think
yeah.
of New York as a historical town. It's all these other things, but it's like the historical town. And yeah, I enjoy this stuff. I like going to places that are supposedly haunted and kind of freaking out a little bit about it. But I don't know. I don't guess I've put too much.
Yeah, I mean, I love, I mean, I love, 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 I Okay, so my husband and I were in Scotland, Edinburgh, and like the cemeteries there are magnificent. And just walking around the cemeteries, I mean, it's really hard for me not to believe, like, just because of
Yep.
just what I feel when
Mhm.
I'm there. So we were in Richmond. I don't know, you live in Baltimore, so like the
Right,
cemeteries
right.
in Richmond are really beautiful,
Yeah.
and you can, spend days just walking around. There's just
Yep.
they're really just vast, and so even when we're there, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys believe in ghosts?
We have and not too far from here, from Baltimore, in Bel Air, they have the Tudor Mansion where John Wilkes Booth family lived, because why don't we
Okay.
be famous for that?
Right.
And
Yeah.
every family that lived in there, from exploding shampoo bottles to a birthday cake that just flipped over, they all left. No one
Right.
will live there. So now it's a museum. So I
Yeah.
gotta say, if all these families had, it wasn't just one, it's just like they're all
Right.
come out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'm trying to figure out like what your toast ghost was trying to tell you. Like
Less
too,
carbs.
too many carbs. What was the point? Like,
This isn't the right color of toast. What are you doing?
don't you know we have marmalade? I
I
mean,
know. Yeah, it must have
The butter's
been.
spoiled. Trying to save
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's and we live out in the country a bit, so there's no city lights, and so when we're out, we don't have actually. Yeah, my bandmates get on me. They're like, "You need to get some outdoor lights," because like Kent, I think, fell down the
yeah.
stairs one time with
Yeah.
his amp.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I like all that stuff, but I'm the type of person that like she's watched a ton of horror movies with me, and I find humor in everything. Like, and I'll
yeah.
just start laughing at the most inappropriate time. Like we're watching this is whatever the movie was. It might have been ID Channel, where the entire family was tied up and drowned in a swimming pool. And the first thing I said was, I guess he didn't like her plunging neckline. Like
Yeah.
right off the bat,
Yeah.
just things that I wouldn't say in front of other people.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, horror is hilarious, and I mean, I feel the same way. I love, um, yeah, horror movies that are like comedies.
Right.
Um,
Most people I know that are really into that genre have great senses of humor,
mhm.
Yeah.
whether the two blend or not. They still.
Right.
And if you're in a situation, I mean, I feel like, everyone's been in a situation where you feel creeped out where you're at, like, oh shit, I can't see anything. Like, what's that noise? What's that sound? And so oftentimes in those situations, you kind of have to use humor
Right.
to maybe just like
Little
psych
bit of
yourself
levity.
out. And
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like we watch dark stuff and it kind of feeds our sense of humor in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like we watch tons of ID channel, we watch tons of horror, but like we also joke around all the time. So it's kind of like food for thought, I guess.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So like I was saying, there's so many different years worth of music. There's 70s, there's 80s, I hear 90s. If you could drop Winfield into any era, like a time machine, what would you want to go to, if only for a day?
Oh, like to go play a show?
Or
Like
to see a show, or to, pick up some
Oh.
fashion.
gosh. For me, I mean, I feel like it'd be a different question. I would have loved to have played a show as Winfield, maybe our younger selves, just so we wouldn't look like, one of these old guys. But like, to play a show, somewhere really cool when I was, in the mid to early 90s, when I was in high school, and I would have loved to do that. But gosh, if I could be dropped in anything, I'd probably go for an era that I never saw myself, just out of curiosity for a time that I didn't get to live through.
I mean, I feel like we would be appreciated most, in late 70s, early 80s. and
You probably
mesh well with like other bands, because the influences are from that time. But yeah, also being like, was born in 83, like
Right.
the 90s was, early 90s would be awesome, but
Yeah.
that's not, I don't know if our music would
It
really
might
mesh
not.
well.
It might not. And maybe we'd be like cutting edge to the nth degree if we came out in like 79 or 80, right?
But it would be cool
Yeah.
if, I think it would be cool to have lived, like in England, like to be in Manchester, during, I guess, like when a lot of the bands, like the early, like post-punk influences were coming out
Mhm.
in England. I mean, there's,
Yeah, I guess the where does matter. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, the 90s were such a strange time. I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers open for the Dead Milkmen in like 1988 or something. They
Yeah.
sucked. They were the worst band ever. And we were like making fun of them the entire time. So then fast forward a few years later when they were like ever, I couldn't believe I would have never picked them. I thought this
Yeah.
band is going right in the flusher. No way,
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
turned the whole thing around. See, in the 90s, the weirder you were, the better it was, I guess, So,
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there wasn't any rhyme or reason. And I mean, I felt that way really up until, I mean, and even now sometimes, I mean, just the things that get popular online, you're like, why do people, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, but then at this point in my life, I'm like, maybe I'm too old. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, it has always been that way. You're right. Like some things,
Right.
it's like, these guys, really?
Yeah.
This is,
It was like,
Well, it was
that's
MTV. MTV
Yeah.
would get behind them, but now
Yeah.
now you can just be an Instagram band. You have that. So,
yeah, if you had a good A&R person back in the day, and you
Yeah.
could, you got the right channels and the right viewership and, you got the right eyeballs on you. Yeah, they could make,
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that, I guess we can say this day and age, there may be a band that doesn't have like a whole lot of maybe experience or technical talent, but then they could get popular through social media. But
Right.
then back in, like when punk was like coming out, it in those scenes, it was like almost the worse you were, the cooler you were.
Yeah.
Like, or like the
Yeah.
Sex Pistols, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
or like the Go-Go's, like, or they, they talked about like that, watching documentaries, and like they would always talk about, how in that scene it seemed like, just if the worse you were at like your instrument, then, or like it was like the more raw you were, and the
Like
more,
Suicide, like
yeah,
the band
yeah,
Suicide. Yeah. Alan
yeah,
Vega. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
Suicide.
Because the Sex
Yeah.
Pistols, I have a book about them upstairs, and it chronicles they were like a boy band. They were
Mhm.
followed everywhere they went in the paper every day. And the
Yeah.
very last thing they did was record the album. And when they recorded the album, it was not punk rock. They had all the best engineers, all the top producers, right? And the album
Yeah.
did okay, but really they were
They
about
were
the
weird.
buildup. And oh my God, Sid climbed into a dumpster. Let me get a picture. It was like every day was something
right,
that they did.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they were
they,
like the first boy band, really,
right.
Yeah.
And some, I think some bands, maybe the most successful ones have been able to create a scene around themselves.
Right,
It
right.
is, it isn't just about the music. It is about, the culture of that band.
Yeah.
And the Sex Pistols were certainly, they were really good. I don't know if they were trying to be good at it. I guess they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
They were good
Yeah.
at it. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, the
They
album
garnered.
turned out fantastic, but I don't think that was like their main goal. I think
Yeah.
they were more about how many people can we piss off,
Image.
So,
Yeah. How many
Yeah.
people are coming
oh,
to
thank you.
Yeah.
We were talking about
Huh.
bands that in the 70s, the worse you performed or the worse you sounded, the better you were.
Oh yeah.
And I thought of Suicide, Alan Vega, Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a particular song of Suicide the other day with friends coming over, and it was kind of funny that how they were like, well, how does the song go? And it was just hilarious because I was just like, it's like, and like, and I'm just like, that song, and and then like Michael was like, he's like said it right away, and I was like, holy shit! But it was just kind of funny that is how I was like portraying a song to sound.
Well, I
That's
did
good.
think the new album did remind me a lot of The Cure. I could hear a lot of Cure. I mean, I think I said in the review, I could hear Robert Smith come in at some point, right? But one thing about the really good Cure records to me, like was the 17 Seconds and Pornography and stuff, the drum sound was terrible. Same thing with
Mhm.
Cocktail Twins. It was something about the way they mic'd the drums back then in England and Scotland. It was so jarring and synthetic sounding. That was the only thing that I would like fix if I could go back in time, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you guys
Yeah.
are, I'd call you the Cure with better drum sound. There you go.
Oh, cool.
That's good.
Well, that's
Yeah.
Bunches, and then also our
Producer Scott.
Scott Salter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he likes
Yeah.
to experiment with sounds. So we've done a lot of wild stuff. I mean, credit to him, like some crazy stuff on the second record. He had like this gigantic gear. It was this huge steel gear that was in his studio. And we just put that on the snare stand, and I just played the whole song with that. I mean, I'd played it with the regular snare, but then we
Right.
went through the whole thing again, and I just used that gear, destroyed a stick or two, but it was
Oh, sure, yeah.
yeah, it was cool. And there was a bunch of other stuff too that we've done, the cymbals and the different things to get drum sounds, and I think in this record there's various drum sounds. Like, I don't think you would be like, listen to one song and you could listen one and one and one, and then even that verse run, I can certainly hear, I know the things that we did to the various instruments around the drum set, and I can definitely hear them. And I've kind of liked that. And a lot of drummers and guitarists, of course, many instrumentalists they have their sound, and I wouldn't say I have mine at all. I think I like it is cool for the song. I want the drums to match the song, and that's what that's what matters more. I just like it to match.
See, I pictured they're putting together some really hooky, jangly thing, and in the back you're like, hold on, and you break into part of Vicarious. And they're like, let's let him finish. Let him finish. And then we'll get back. And you're just like hitting
I
everything,
wish, as much as I love Tool, and they certainly have influenced me, I don't think, I think as it pertains to Winfield, there's not much there. I mean, it's
it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit
not
at all. Yeah.
No. We live
no
in
9-minute drum solos. No.
Right. We live in 4/4. We, a lot of eighth note driven stuff. And I like that. I mean, I've listened to plenty of other things over the years that have influenced me too, but yeah, for sure.
But I do think, and again, I don't want to talk about Tool too much, but I do think that there's a certain element of them hating their own fans a certain amount, because taking that long between records, I really do think that, and any interview with Maynard, he will not talk about Tool. He talks about his cat's favorite food or whatever. I think that band hates their fans. That's always been my thought.
The singer in another
there's a perfect circle.
but he wore a wig there for some reason.
He's a weird dude.
They wouldn't know who he was.
But yeah, some
there's a lot
bands
to hate about Tool fans, though, as you mentioned. So it's okay.
I also think Guns N' Roses hated their fans because of the things that they did. They would always sabotage things. They would always cause riots. They would say things on TV that you weren't allowed to say. They made terrible cover versions and put them out. And when people wanted to hear new music, I mean, just those are two bands that I feel really hated their fans. Sorry, it's my opinion. Yeah, that's for another discussion. But yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So Victoria, I do love your voice. You have that dreamlike pull that just sinks its nails and it won't let go. Did you have formal training, or is it just all natural instinct?
Yeah, no training. My mom is a singer. My brother can sing pretty well, and my sister Shoshana, she's also a singer. So I guess It's just in the family. And yeah, I do remember like in 4th and 5th grade, I used to dance with my friends. Like this was, you know, 90s R&B. I had like my Black girlfriends and I wanted to like learn how to dance. And so, they taught me how to dance and we used to do like these choreographed dances at school dances. This is like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. But I used to sing all the time in the cafeteria, like after lunch. We'd go to the gym and we would walk down the hall and we were going to like practice our next dance moves. And I would just sing all the time, whatever was on the radio. And they would always ask me like, oh, sing this song, sing this song. Whenever you sing, and it was just like, I don't know, I was a kid. So I didn't really think anything of it, but they would always just say like, "Oh, you sound so good." And but yeah, never other than just like karaoke and singing in my car and around the house, didn't really get into it until I had moved away from North Carolina for a while and then I moved back to the area in 2009. And my sister babysat Tom Maxwell's kids, who was in the Squirrel Nut Zippers. And then my sister moved away. Then I was babysitting his kids. And we were like at the Hall River Ballroom. He had a show. I was babysitting. Then like a friend had come over and they were going to watch the kids for the rest of the night. Then I started drinking and we stayed up till like, it was just a whole group of us after the show. And I remember just singing backup for some reason. And it was our friend, Catherine, who had just said, "That's real." Like, why aren't you singing with Tom? Like, what? And so it was really Catherine that just kind of had given me that like confidence or just said, "Oh, you should really pursue that." And so then Tom and I just started learning like songs and I started singing with him. And yeah, that really wasn't that many years before Winfield. So no training or anything. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow. You made me think of, remember when everybody had Rock Band for a while? The video
Yeah.
the video game Rock Band.
Yeah.
A strange side of me came out when my family and I tried to play that game. I think we found the boys are back in town, and
Yeah.
I was singing and playing the guitar, and all of a sudden I like turned into Bob Ezrin. I was just like, "Mom, can we pick up the beat a little? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We call that a bass line, Alex? Hello?" Like I was abusing my family because they couldn't play Thin Lizzy to my
Well, and the
standards.
game
And I
and
just
the game
threw
is
down the
playing.
plastic guitar and walked off,
Yeah. You didn't smash it?
And
This
the
band's
game is
never
telling
going
you that
anywhere,
you're not
you know.
getting the high score, so it's even worse. Like
Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
disgusted with my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're objectively bad at playing this
That's
bass
hilarious.
line. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's funny because I started singing with Tom, we did a lot of songs. I don't know how it happened, but a lot of the songs, like old covers we were doing, were low register. Um, uh, Actually, so it was like a lot of Delta blues. I don't know how we went into that, but that was low register for me. And then a funny story, but when I met my husband, uh, it was just at Weaver Street, which is a local food co-op, which we both worked at. I was asking a friend, like, "Hey, I need some new material because I sing in the low register." And like just a stranger at the time, now my husband, was like, "Oh, you should do, Nico and Mazzy Star." And so then I started singing those songs. And I really like the low register. That's where I feel like my voice shines, or I so thought at the time, because actually I could sing blues type songs. Like lower register was really comfortable for me. And then when I was with Winfield, a lot of the songs, it just seemed right to sing higher. And in the beginning, I was just kind of like, I don't think I can hit those. I don't think that this is gonna work. Like, I don't think that I can get up there. And it really was just because I hadn't tried. Um, and now, like, actually more of my power. I mean, I don't have like a extensive range, but more of my power is when I go higher. And so it's been pretty cool to just kind of see, you know, different ways of singing or experience different ways of singing that I may have never tried. So I feel like Winfield has really helped me kind of like push the boundaries just for myself and learning through experience. So
We had a few track specific questions. So I love 1+1+1.
Yes.
I love that it doesn't always equal three.
The vocal in that.
Oh
is
my God,
unbelievable.
yeah. The vocal is absolutely entrancing. So is that mean kind of like putting things together doesn't mean it's always gonna work?
yeah, I think so. Brad is he wrote that song.
Yeah, he's the lyricist.
Yeah, he's kind of like the main lyricist. It's kind of funny because Brad, he was like he was the lead singer for his previous band. It was a Glue Stick. And he's a really good singer. And he didn't want to be the lead singer. Wanted female vocals. And but like it really is kind of his baby, I will say, like in the sense that, I mean, I've written lyrics in the beginning, and we play those songs every once in a while, but it's like, I don't know, Brad is such a good writer.
Yeah, he is.
And so then it's just kind of like, I want to go with his lyrics, you know, like when you have a good writer, and it's sort of like we go with what is best, and or like what feels good.
Yeah, and I think specifically that song though, I mean, I do think that song is, you know, and that lyric specifically is, you know, sometimes you do put, you know, you think you're on one track, and then when you get there, it's just not how it ends up, you know. And so you can put one and one together, and it just doesn't always equal what you think it's going to. And I mean, you know, I don't know if there is a specific thing he was talking about, you know, what is it that, but I think in a general sense, and I have heard him talk about it, you know, in the general sense that's kind of what it is. You may be starting off in one place thinking you're going for something, and it doesn't end up that way. Yeah.
That's what I got from it. Like, you might have all the ingredients for a cake, doesn't mean a cake's gonna come out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It sure is true for a YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, the thing that you think is going to absolutely crush, crickets. And then you're like, wait a minute, that stupid thing that I said about airline stewardesses got 1 million hits. Why? You know?
Yeah.
I almost didn't even do that one, you know?
That's right.
You
And
had
you know,
no
and I think
idea.
songwriting's the same way. Gosh, I mean, Brad will come in, or Kent will have, you know, an idea, and it, you know, it starts one way, and you know that it is not
Oh
the
my
same at the
gosh.
end.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's songs from the very beginning
yeah,
that are still, well, not finished.
right.
Or listening back to, I think on our SoundCloud, we kind of forget that we have a SoundCloud, and we were listening to a couple of the songs that ended up being recorded or we're still working on, but it was a different version many years ago, and it was pretty cool.
We had this one song. It was really not a song. It was called Goth Disco, and it ended up being like this. I mean, it must have been, and maybe that's the Tool influence. There was 9 minutes, but it was.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
It was so many parts, and it was outrageous. And like we were really trying to craft it into something, but it never ended up really becoming something. But over the years, it's been picked apart. Like little parts of goth disco have found its way,
That's true.
for
Yeah.
a bridge or a chorus or some kind of lick that has happened, and then it ends up being recorded. So yeah, you really do. You're right though. I know I've heard a lot of internet folks say, you think you're trying, you put all your effort into one thing, and then it's like we were saying, the song that has made us the most money, because we got on a
TV
show for Peacock. Apples Never Fall,
I think so. Yeah.
and it's the song "Giant" off the first
Yeah.
record.
It was a lesbian sex scene in the kitchen.
Yeah. It was like it was like the first episode, but that song took us 20 minutes to write. I mean,
There
it
you
was
go.
like
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
it was nothing. Like,
And that's
and
one
it
of
just-
our longer
we just-
songs too, right?
yeah, in length, it's not. It's probably 4 minutes or so, but it took us no time. And then there's other songs that, I mean, 1+1+1. I mean, we didn't work on that thing for years, but it certainly didn't develop overnight. That thing
Right.
definitely had many iterations, and parts changed. Autonomy and Belief is another one that, holy moly, that song. I actually, I'm so thrilled. I was really just blown away with the way that song turned out, and especially thinking about how it started. I didn't. It was just all kind of disjointed to me when it first started, but now it's
And then there's
It's really
songs. Then there's songs
lovely.
that it's like, okay, we have a new song that we just recorded, and there's no lyrics, but and this has happened with me for a couple of times where I'm like, this song, I'll just like get so excited because I'm like, there's a perfect melody and perfect lyrics for this song. Like this song has to have lyrics, because we do have songs that are just instrumental.
Yeah.
Like this song has to have lyrics. And I will try and try and try. And I'm like, a song that you think would just be so easy to write lyrics or a melody can sometimes be the hardest ones. And Brad can't even
Yeah.
get lyrics for this new song. It's very anthem like,
Mhm.
and it's so good. And I'm just like, can't find them yet. It's just not as easy. But then,
that's funny.
sometimes it's like
Yeah.
really easy to write.
Yeah, they
I mean, that's
just-
just the way it works, I guess.
Yeah. But go
I
figure, the
read-
song that was good for streaming was the song that took 20 minutes to write, and the
Right.
song that
Of
we
course,
made
yeah,
more money
yeah.
on than any other song.
Yeah.
by a
I
long
can't remember whether I read it or I watched a video of it, but there was this interview with Billy Duffy where he said he will have dreams that he discovers an unreleased Beatles song, and it's like the greatest song he's ever heard in his life. And then when he wakes up, he can't remember any of it.
Yeah.
That's got to be crazy frustrating,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to keep your guitar right by the bed, right by the bed.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Oh, let's talk about the video.
Oh, Autonomy.
Yeah.
Oh, I do love the line in that song. It takes a lot to give a little bit more. That kind of hit home for me. I've kind of been in those relationships where we're giving 100% already, and they're like, no, 150%. I need more from you.
Meanwhile, they're giving 20%.
And it's so hard.
That's a really
Is that kind of the context that kind of put the thought behind those lines, like kind of that you're stuck?
Oh. Again, boy, I know you're probably like, boy, where's this Brad fella?
yeah. Where's like the
I wish
the
I wish
main
I had a
character.
good answer for that. I know, I know Brad wrote a lot of these lyrics during pandemic times, and I know a lot of them revolve around various relationships, and work, romantic, just life in general. But I mean, I think in terms of what that line's all about, it is, and especially in those days where it did feel like, you just were slogging, just to like just to go to the grocery store or just to get
Mhm.
something like really mundane done.
Mhm.
You know, it took so much effort. It felt like, you know, even if it didn't, it just always felt like you were just kind
Right.
of walking through sand. So, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. I remember having to
Well-
go to 3 stores just to find eggs.
Right. Right.
Well,
Right. Yeah. Like
In the
everything.
video, is it an
Mhm.
old movie or is like a recreation of an old movie?
Yeah, it is. It is clips. See if you can.
Oh, it's
She's gonna ask Kent. Kent is a very talented photographer and
a
videographer.
videographer.
That's kind of his day job and has been for years. So yeah, usually with all of the videos, you can kind of see a lot of. I don't know if you've seen on YouTube, you know, a lot of just images flashing back and forth. We usually have to put an epilepsy warning in front of
Right,
them.
right.
There's a lot of flashing and whatnot. But yeah, he's kept to the theme, which I really like. One, because we don't all have to be on camera,
Mhm.
but you know, we'll record something and you know, just something that really works. It kind of strikes him, and he'll find like classic movies and scenes that are either in the public domain, you know, or you know, the copyright is so gray area that we'll kind of put something together. And but yeah, I'm almost positive Autonomy and Belief it's an old movie.
Yeah, it's the I can't think of it, but
Did you ask him?
it's no, but he it's just it's an old movie where it's just the woman's head, and in throughout the video, the music video, someone's running with they're carrying something, and it's a head. It's a
Yeah,
woman's head.
yeah.
And then I have
What
not
are, what are they doing to her? Like what?
It looks
Like
like electric
it's
shock
it's
therapy or
almost like they're
something.
they're
Yeah,
trying to extract her
it's
thoughts or
kind of like
something. I
a
mean,
psychological horror thing. It's like it's like it's her head, almost like the video in one, you know, where the guy is like completely
oh
awake and
right,
knows
right,
everything, but he can't do anything. I think it's
right.
very similar to that. She's kind of aware of what's happening to her around her, but everybody
Okay.
else has got control of what is, you know, the inputs.
Johnny,
So
Get Your Gun was the movie.
yeah, that was Johnny Get Your Gun. Yeah, I can
Probably
remember it
same
now.
same era, same era. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a, you know, post-war movie.
Yeah.
You know, late 40s, early 50s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you texting
I
me?
have, yeah, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen the movie yet. Have you?
No, I haven't watched
Yeah.
the whole movie. And I have to admit, I don't watch a ton of old classic films, so I don't know the name. But if he hits us up with
Yeah.
with the title here,
Yeah.
we
No, that
should
makes
have
sense.
told him to be on standby for things like that. You'll have good questions.
I
Yeah.
also like that autonomy means kind of being able to make your own decisions without restraints. But
Sure.
then you have in the lyrics pushing against my restraints. So I was like,
Yep.
I like that, you know, kind of combination. So in your opinion, what are some restraints, literal or figurative, that people have around them that they might not even be aware of?
Oof. Gosh, you know, well, I think there's been, you know, books written about it, but I do believe, you know, some people just aren't. Uh, I don't know how in tune everybody is with just how much their upbringing and surroundings really shaped them. You know, I think when we all, if you sit back and just say that, you're like, well, of course they did. But then I think in our day to day, how that manifests, you know, throughout our lives and the way we interact with the world, I don't think a lot of people put two and two together. And and this kind of thing happens to me, and how I react is, you know, very much. I'm not saying we don't have free will, but there's a lot. I think there's a lot of predestination going on, just the way we were, you know, hard written by our experiences. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like an obvious one. Oh, sorry, I just got a text from Kent. The Brain That Wouldn't Die is
Okay.
the movie.
yeah,
Yeah. Alive without a body, fed by an unspeakable horror from hell.
I want to watch it now. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued.
It's a great poster. It looked great on behind
I've
you
seen
guys.
the poster
Yeah,
for that. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You can get
Indeed.
T-shirts of that. I've seen it. Yeah,
God,
yeah,
you
that's it. They have that. That's come up in my T Public
It-
thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but well, I feel like, well, you said without knowing, but I think just social media, like a lot of us know that it's a restraint, but we don't know like the full extent of it, like how it really does prevent us from doing a lot of things that we all used to do without social media,
Oh yeah.
just experiencing life
Yep.
without, I mean, it's like very, it's like traps you.
I
It
feel like,
can,
yeah,
it
I
traps
do
a lot
feel
of
like
people.
I do feel like we're a more observed. We live more observed lives than we used to. And I think there's the specter of that. I mean, not that I feel like there's like, it's not like there's cameras everywhere, but there kind of are. And if anything, if there's anything interesting happening, the cameras are coming
I'm
out.
just thinking about like Gen X, Gen X, even millennials, me, like growing up, when we did, we kind of like learned through experience.
Yeah.
And
Lots of failure.
lots of failure on
Mhm.
actual real life experiences. And I just feel like that, I don't know, was helpful
Mhm.
in our life, and how like
Yeah.
your character development.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I would say
Yeah,
that.
in terms of restraint, I told an HR manager one time, I said, "Look, I know you probably don't believe this, but for everything I do say, I've vetoed 10 things that I don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sensors are going crazy up in here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you're gonna hit me with the 11th one? Come on, you know." So, yeah.
If you only
So,
knew the filter I was running.
if they
Right.
only knew what I am capable of saying, absolutely,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I do also love run because I think I love we're running away until your heart bursts. I mean, what are we running from? Everyday fears, the grind, maybe something bigger, like the fantasy of starting a new life in Peru.
Yeah, I do think I think Run is I think that's one of those songs that it can be all of those things if you want it to be. I mean, I think most people are running, we're almost always running to something or running from something. Um, whether you want to admit it or not. And yeah, those lyrics, that's kind of what they've always meant to me. I don't know, you're the one that sings them, and I know you and Brad have talked about them a lot more, but I've always felt like it was um, it's quite literal in that regard that, but it could be, yeah, you're running to Peru, or you're, running to the love of your life.
I was always running away from my ex-wife. It was nice to stop finally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's like one liner, like silence makes me nervous. Is it happening again? I'm spinning around in circles. Um,
It's a story
is
ever.
the story ever
Mhm.
end? And for me, it's well, yeah, you're like running from just saying what it is. I feel like that's a hard thing for a lot of people, is to like be uncomfortable um with just saying what you need to say, and like running towards
Yeah.
what you need, like running towards it instead of running away. Running towards something like that you're afraid of
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
hard to do. But like the more you do it, the easier it is.
For sure. For sure.
I like this one workout girl on YouTube, and she always says if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So every time I don't want to do something, I try to keep that in my head.
That's 100%. It's 100%. I wish I had learned that, practicing the drums over the years. I think I kind of plateaued for a long, long time, just kind of playing what I enjoyed and not really challenging myself. And yeah, that was just bad discipline on my part. But I never felt like I started getting better until I started being like, this is a beat that, I can't get my hands to do this, and we're going to practice that. And it is it's very rewarding when, you know, you can't play something on Monday and you just, you know, flub it, and by Friday it's starting to work, and then you put it in your body. You know, as a drummer, you can kind of get the sticking right, but it doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? Lots of people could stick Rosanna, but you can't, to make that sound like, you know, the way it does on that recording. There's, you know, very few people that have that feel. And so, yeah, that's the kind of thing that it really does take. It takes time. And if you don't work on stuff that is hard, yeah, you're just going to sit kind of on one level for sure.
Did you see the All the World's a Stage documentary?
I did not.
No.
It was on Netflix for a while.
Oh, okay.
That,
I'm gonna write this down.
Pert was like 45 and he got himself a drum teacher to
Oh,
show him the right way. It was like some guy
Oh.
from Africa or something.
yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. I did see that clip. I know.
Yeah.
The fact of Neil Peart going and like, no, I need to challenge. Like, we're not good enough yet.
Yeah,
I need to
exactly.
go.
That I just had to think. I just thought immediately when you said that. I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
so there's an example of you can never be too good at something, you know.
No, and I think those are the people, you know, the Neil Pearts of the world, and the real geniuses. Those people always were like, no, I'm not. There's no way I'm going to ever perfect this. I never get better. I've heard Steve Gadd, Dave Weckl, like all of the greats. You know, they're still just like practicing. You know, working on this, looking at somebody and just be like, I want to break his wrists. I'll never be able to do that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they're the greatest drummers in the world, and they're still just like, man, you know, it's and I think it's like that with any craft. You know, you get to a point, and you know, once you get really good at it, you recognize how bad you are.
Yeah,
at the same-
right.
you know,
Yeah,
like
the
how
more
far
you
have
learn, yeah, the
to
more you
go.
don't.
Well, like I was saying, I love Wade in the Water with that kind of stripped down, harmony driven vibe. And kind of I do like the duet on that. It's a nice feel. What does Wade in the Water signify for you? Like freedom, new beginnings, or something else?
Um, yeah, I guess like when you said new beginnings, every time I feel like it's a cleansing. Um, anytime I mean, like metaphorically, but um, I'm thinking of just like when I actually like if you're taking it literally, um, being I happen to really love the ocean, and or just like getting in really cold water, um, being in like an uncomfortable state, but taking that to a like metaphorical level is the same way, like a cleansing, new beginning for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, just touching on the being uncomfortable. I think that sometimes like for me anyway, like a physical, like being uncomfortable physically, uh, like when if you get into the ocean in the winter time, this is just an example, or we have a local quarry, I'll go hike in the woods and like connect with nature, and then get in freezing cold water that makes you feel uncomfortable. um, but then like the benefit when you get out, like it like stimulates your circulatory system, and improves your mental health, your outlook, like on everything. And so I feel like even though that could be taken like metaphorical, it's also kind of a literal meaning that then transforms into something metaphorical.
It kind of had me thinking about that Lady Gaga Bradley Cooper duet, Far from the Shallows, kind of like diving in. Oh, well,
yeah.
we're not in the shallows anymore. Deal with it.
Yeah,
Right.
and Brad, like, it's funny because I think in the beginning we weren't sure if our vocals were going to match, and then they did, which was pretty cool.
And I think he's done a good job over the years. I like a lot of the songs that just the ideas, Tori's voice is obviously one of the instruments in the band. So that's like, even if it's just guitar, bass, and drums at the beginning, her voice is considered greatly.
Well, it changes the sound, yeah, like
for sure.
depending on
For sure, but we're
on-
not. Yeah, yeah. No.
But yeah, I never thought that I would like singing higher, which
Mhm.
is kind of an interesting thing, like getting back to challenging oneself. I really didn't feel comfortable singing higher.
Yeah.
And so that was a really good experience for me to be able to like push myself in that way and realizing that you can like sing even just when we do covers sometimes.
Yes.
We rarely do covers, but when we do, they're usually like for Halloween if we
Yeah.
have a Halloween show. But it's like, I don't know if I can do that. And then, I do it and I'm like, okay.
So we'll do a short version. We do a game on the show.
Okay.
So I know you're short on time, so we'll just do one number for each of you, and it will correspond to a random question you will ask. So
Okay, great.
pick any number between 1 and 100.
29. That's my
Okay,
number.
Oh, okay. 76.
All right. 29, okay,
All plugged in. Yeah.
29 and 76. So he's a little short on time.
That's fine.
Do
That's
one
fine.
each.
Yeah.
So 29. What's a hobby you've tried and then immediately given up on?
Ooh. Immediately given up on. Yeah, probably guitar. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I did try, if you call it a try. I'd say that was 97. Yeah, probably springish of 97.
How old were you?
I was a sophomore in college, so it was like, I was 20 years, 19 years old, going on 20, and somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah, it couldn't have been. I was 19. Yeah, if I was it was 97, I guess it would have been. And
Be right back.
I just sucked. And I mean, I played drums, so I was like, well, maybe I'll have the coordination, and I guess that wasn't the problem. It really, my hands have always been kind of sensitive, and as soon as those steel strings started cutting into my fingers, I was like, no, I don't like this. And you know what? I think it was. I think after I have the attention span of a goldfish, and it was really bad then. And I think knowing I could play drums, and then I felt like starting over. I don't know. Didn't want to do it. So it was a very quick foray into guitar. I don't think it lasted more than a couple of weeks. Yeah.
I've always felt that Eddie was so good because he was a drummer first. Like if you watch him play Mean Streets, he's drumming on the guitar basically. That's drumming,
Now, and there are people, I know some guitarists that are way better drummers than me. There's just some people that can pick up every instrument. That's not me. I actually have dabbled with the piano more than the guitar, and if I've practiced that and done okay with it, I've pretty much forgot most everything that I learned. But that came a lot more naturally to me than.
I thought you got more calluses from drums than you did from guitar. No,
you totally do. Well, I don't know. It's the tips of the fingers. All of my calluses, kind of go across my hands.
Different part of your hand. Okay.
I've had those. Yeah, I've had those for decades. But yeah, the tips of my fingers, I was like, ooh,
oh, that's funny.
I can't grab my pizza out of the oven.
All right, Tori had 76. Would you rather have a pet dinosaur or a pet dragon?
Oh, a pet dragon.
I was hoping you'd say.
I think that's like immediately I'm thinking, yeah, the ideal dragon would be Game of Thrones, like where you can actually ride your dragon.
They're emotional. They have
Yeah,
magic.
but I was gonna say, depending on what dinosaur, having an emotional dragon can kind of
Yeah,
cause some
that's
mayhem,
true.
as
That's
we've
true.
seen in Game of Thrones.
Those are great questions, though.
Yeah, that we saw your black cat before. What's his or her name?
This is Zoe. She's a little moody. This is Zoe.
Oh,
Hi,
Good
Oh,
one.
she
beautiful.
looks just. We have one just like her. Ours is Little Bear. And you know how they look like How to Train a Dragon a little bit? The dragon from that with his green.
Yeah.
I love
It was
it.
during the
So,
height of Game of Thrones. And I picked up Little Bear and I said, "Come on, Dracoris." And she just kind of farted. That was it.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's the only cat that won't come on the show. The other two will get up here and show off and strut. Little Bear wants nothing to do with podcasting. So I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
She has a sister. Zoe has a sister, Franny. She's black and white, and she is the sweeter one and the most shy.
Yeah.
Zoe,
Yeah.
she's very social, but you cannot touch her.
Yeah.
Well, I can.
Ah.
But
Right,
no
only
one
you
can.
can. Right, okay. Yeah.
There's a couple of times during this I reached down and she was like,
And she was
I was like,
Mm.
So, do you guys have tour plans? And maybe could we lure you up this way?
we don't have any tour plans right now. We certainly have talked about coming up towards in the DC area. There's nothing in the mix right now. We're playing locally at Carborough Music Festival in
September 28th.
Yep. And then we are playing in Hillsborough at Yonder for Halloween.
Yeah.
So that will be a big party and a good time. Right now, though, yeah, nothing up that way. I would love to. And we have sincerely talked about playing
Yeah.
in DC because all of us, well, Kent, Brad, and I have all played there at various points in our lives. And there's some great venues.
We had started seriously talking about it pre-pandemic.
Yeah, there was
And
a lot of
then-
motivation then to tour, and then
Yeah.
a lot of things have happened. I think if we did do something like that, probably wouldn't be on a tour. It would just, or maybe we'd hit Richmond and then DC and come back down.
Yeah. I have my brother lives in Philadelphia, so
Yeah.
there's talk about maybe like Richmond, Philadelphia, DC.
Yeah.
But nothing.
Awesome.
We haven't. Yeah, we really should. Tori and I love gigging.
We do.
Brad likes it. Kent,
Yeah.
could take it or leave it.
It's
It
kind of
depends.
interesting, like
dep-
how that works.
We
Yeah.
really did get together originally. We wanted to write and make things together and share it with people. But there was never like this big, social media push or anything that was, again, I think it would have happened around the pandemic when we were really getting serious to do stuff, and then things shut down. And since then, life and all the other things that get in the way have kind of kept that from popping off too much. But I would love to come up that way, and you will definitely know. We would
Okay,
be.
great.
Awesome.
we
Yeah, we'll
will
be there.
We
Great.
will absolutely let you know.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1 is the new album from The Clap, Relapse. The Clap formed all the way back in the fall of 1978 in the attic of bassist Johnny Loftus's parents' house. 45 years later, Loftus is the lone original member, now joined by drummer Paul Butch Baruch, first guitar slinger Art Zawadny, and scene veteran Docs on second guitar. The first time the band has expanded to a four-piece. Back when Loftus christened his Lehigh Valley outfit The Clap, the name was alone guaranteed parental pearl-clutching and dive-bar curiosity. They arrived with a pure DIY sneer and the conviction that tomorrow's noise would be even louder.
Fast forward to today. The hair is grayer, the amp's a little crustier, and Loftus has survived every pothole punk rock in life could throw in his way. Health scares, lineup shakeups, even a pandemic just as things were starting to gel again. Yet he's still grinning like the next gig might be the big one. Lehigh Valley conjures visions of creameries, not circle pits. The closest the clap comes to a dairy cow is the occasional errant cowbell. But Loftus and his latest and arguably strongest lineup are still belting out punk rock missives about VD and other perils of being anything but wealthy, all with every last decibel of East Coast attitude.
Lost in Germany, not the King's X tune, follows a poor soul adrift in more than translation, searching, as the lyric puts it, for a glass of water in this German Holocaust. Crowd noise and distant clanging bells give the guitar a flicker, like a buzzing fluorescent light. Boruk's quick, snappy drums jump in as the buzz fades, clearing the way for chug-heavy chord progressions from Zawadny and new recruit Docs. Their three-strike burst, just one of the many hooks in this tackle box.
Loftus's vocals shift from frustration to panic to anger, F-bombs included, while Sly Doo-Wop, Whoa-Ahs, a regional punk trademark, ratchets the tension. By the gang shouted chorus, thin whining guitars slice through for pure punk perfection, and the rangy, sinuous guitar solo mirrors that lost and wandering vibe to a T. Arthritic chord nails the aches and pains of getting older. Roach's drums snap with poppy precision, impossibly effervescent, while guitars grind like a miter saw after a 1-2-3-4 count-off. The bass adds a reverb-laced bounce as the chords clutter at the end of each line, like a catchy three-peat strike. Loftus half sings, half shouts with a dash of apathy. I woke up in the morning, don't want to be so bored. My 6 little fingers hit the arthritic chord. A gang chorus invites the crowd to chant for more ibuprofen. Let's play a clip. This is arthritic chord.
Arthritic chord. Your head feels so much weaker. Your limbs just feel the same. The guitar that you've been strumming is the only thing to blame. Arthritic chord. Arthritic chord.
Among the re-recorded classics, VD proves, like David Coverdale, sometimes you keep re-releasing a song until it finally sticks. Mega buzz fuzz riffs, surfy rolls, and peppy fills, cymbal flourishes drive this cautionary one-night stand tale. Loftus bemoans the perils. What's this pain coming over me? Hurts so much I just can't scream. Before the band launches into a frisky reverb-drenched solo and a group chant of VD, no laughing matter. VD, go tell your brother. As a group public service announcement, well, with some maniacal laughter thrown in.
Another classic made fresh, Insubordinate, commences with a piercing feedback squall that continues its wail as the bass burbles up low and fast like a stomach in full revolt after a beer and nacho bender. A little dangerous. The guitars spark off in rapid fire, candy bright bursts of 3-chord punk urgency with the polish of a well-oiled gearbox, snapping from shape to shape without ever grinding a gear. Underneath the drums are whip smart and crackly, hi-hats sizzling like a live wire while the snare pops like bubble wrap in the hands of a nervous popper. It's a blur of motion that somehow stays perfectly tight. A little interlude of handing an extended reverb one-log note shimmering in the air like heat over asphalt between lines is a perfect palate cleanser. I think my favorite track is Release Me, as the drums, snare, and cymbal ricochets crisp, never overpowering. Underneath the guitars buzzing in neon streaks, keep a Blondie-adjacent touch, each riff stretching out and hanging the third strike like it's savoring the last drag of a cigarette. A shimmering bass line prowls through the middle, low and warm. As Loftus starts with a protest, no! Lyrics about a looming surgery he seems desperate to escape from. Nice little drum roll build to the last full band chant of Release Me.
The band is a case study in perseverance. With the right lineup finally locked, health scares, and a pandemic fading in the rear view, the Clap aren't taking a victory lap. They're already gunning for the next race. We're in the studio currently with punk rock records from New York. Loftus says we're working on new songs. How does it feel to be a punk for 45 years? Loftus just laughs. Exhausting. Here's to more from a true OG who might finally be ready for prime time and ready to prove that Lehigh Valley exports more than dairy delights. This is Release Me.
Welcome to your surgery. Release me. Release me. All it took is one turn of the key. Now you're gonna see a surgery. Don't wanna be in this puddle of red. Just wanna get out of my hospital bed. Better listen to what the doctor said, 'cause it's too late now.
Okay, Deaf Ears 2.
This is Sölicitör, Enemy in Mirrors. The name Sölicitör immediately has me intrigued. I picture the merch table pitch. Ah, yes, this Crimson Battle Beast tee pairs perfectly with a leather wrist, cuff, and hat. May I also tempt you with our limited edition glow-in-the-dark poster? Or perhaps they're literally soliciting your attention. A band that teases and entices with power riffs, bold performances, a spritz of hairspray, and just enough dark lyricism for a gothy twist. Added bonus at no extra charge, those mighty mystery metal umlauts.
This five-piece from Seattle may be far from Europe, but Solicitor's dots are a badass nod to tradition, standing alongside the likes of Motorhead, Blue Oyster Cult, and Motley Crue, bands that really didn't need the dots either, but hey, that's rock and roll. As for pronunciation, there's a chance that they say it differently, but for now, I'm holding off on the Sölicitör until corrected. After an EP and a split, they return for their second full-length, 10 tracks, most running 4 to 6 minutes, except for a shorter atmospheric instrumental that opens the album and sets the stage. This band can put the go in speed metal on track We Who Remain. You're going to want to click your seatbelt. The guitars of Patrick Fry and Matt Vaughan spill out a fuzzed-up chatter, slicing through the air like an expert chef, blitzing through chives, fast, precise, and perfectly formed. Behind them, the drums of Johann Waymeyer pulse like a runner's heart after moonlight. A steady thrum of urgency. The riff arcs wildly before snapping back into tight formation, coiled and ready.
Amy Lee Carlson's vocals finish each line with a full, shimmering vibrato alto, faintly operatic before veering rough and witchy, like she's just discovered her own inner banshee. Beneath it all, the bass of Damon Cleary Erickson grinds with a satisfying crunch, never staying still for a second. Mid-track, the guitars briefly lock into bright harmonies, a fleeting flash of unity before detonating into a solo that squeals, noodles, and roars, showing off like a guitarist with a brand new pedal. Only near the end does the track ease off, coasting through a slower victory lap, breathless and panting. And why let the guitars hog all the spotlight? Fallen Angel kicks off with a bass solo by Cleary Erickson, meaty low and hopping around like a toad on Red Bull, while cymbals add the pond ripples. One guitar channels low distorted riffs, while the other drifts off in wispy off-center notes, seemingly tripping over themselves in a delightfully unnerving dance. The track pauses, and then, like a starter gun, everything bursts into motion, snare pops racing, rolling riffs bolting across the mix. Only when vocals arrive does it settle slightly. Carlson's voice is commanding with a dark edge, layered in a dreamlike haze on every other stanza, and swelling for the chorus. Mid-track, a tight little avalanche of notes erupt, breaking into a solo with more noodles than a Raymond factory, all over punchy snare hits, enough to make anyone reach for the air guitar. The vocals are thick and smooth like dark chocolate pudding, obsessed with the illusion of reality. How can I possess you while you still fly free? They soar to a crescendo, echoing over triumphant guitar harmonies, a perfect drop the mic and pick moment. Let's play a clip. This is Fallen Angel.
In Black Magic and the Devil's Hand Part 2, a high, snappy guitar dances above as the bass pulses slower, low-end notes, and the drums kick off a light rat-a-tat. A yeah, 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 yow from Carlson lights a fuse, and the guitars peel out like they're screeching in a parking garage. The kick drum stomps, the snare hypes, and the guitars settle into a groove fuzzier than velveteen. We're never far from a vaulting solo or high-octane harmonies, and sure enough, both appear. Carlson's vocals are a bit gnarled at the edges, but battle cry strong. Grinding through the broken flesh, bones snapped and bleeding, spellbound we heed the call and break this curse at last. The track closes with the vexing cinematic sound of a murder of crows, a perfect eerie flourish.
My favorite track, Iron Wolves of War, is a full-on siege at the gates, all grinding riffs and extra crisp snares from the very first needle drop. Guitarists Fry and Vaughn weave harmonies that flow like undulating silk scarves, moving effortlessly between them and groovy sawdust-floored low riffs. Carlton sells every line with snarling conviction that makes you believe the Iron Wolves really are coming for you and your village. Maybe bring the cat inside. Flee, flee in horror, will all be slaughtered, axes crushing bone, steel conquers all. Mid-track, those harmonizing guitars blast and take turns opposite battering ram, tough kick drum pummels of Waymeyer, slowing the charge to a dark canter before everything fuses again. Then a solo detonates, spraying out a jaw-dropping run of notes. The second guitar jumps back in with that bleeding refrain, and bam, pure metal fucking magic. Blistering, high-speed harmonies close it out under Carlson's tortured screams.
Sölicitör bills themselves on Bandcamp as heavy metal speed dealers from the Pacific Northwest, die for metal, bleed for speed. And honestly, I'd buy anything these dealers are hiding under their trench coats. Fans of Haunt, Sanhedrin, or Traveler can strap on a spiky wristband, cinch a bullet belt, and raise the horns high. Their second album is their own secret sauce of speed metal. It slams the throttle, but wait, there's more. Flips the umlaut and dares you not to headbang. Let's hear a little Iron Wolves of War. Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is the new album from Mega Drive, Machine. I've never been good at predicting the future. In college, I declared that 10,000 Maniacs was going to be the biggest band in the world, and a year later they broke up. And then, to add insult to injury, Natalie Merchant felt the need to torture us with that flaccid version of Because the Night, a grocery store staple to this day that we're all tortured with. Remember that phone reselling service called the Excel Phenomenon?
I totally fell for that pyramid scheme, ended up spending a ton of money on their swag and alienating my entire family, yammering on about wasted money on phone bills for landlines. Plus, I almost bought a Quiznos franchise before the company closed 1,000 stores, declared bankruptcy, and had the shit sued out of it. Clearly, I've made some questionable judgments in my time. It's hard to believe the mysterious Houston-based dark synth artist Mega Drive has been cranking out his 80s flavored cyberpunk instrumentals for over a decade at this point. Now there's a dude that saw the writing on the wall. The retro phenomenon, digital streaming, social media, video game soundtracks. He's in a good place to be sure of endorsement deals and does not have to worry about splitting royalties with the band. I always thought it would be cool for him to collaborate with that Italian dude that does the Master Boot record stuff. Another one lighting cigars with video game royalties, but I digress.
They could call it Mega Boot. Machine is a long record, even by 2025 standards, with 10 songs stretching across 52 minutes of music. It's mellower at times than some of his past works, toying with more dreamy, melodic textures as opposed to his trademark deep industrial glitching. Listen to something like Streetlight Desire, offering up synthesized flute melodies and airy crisscrossing pop hooks along with his trademark bass blaps simmering in the background. Let's hear a little of Streetlight Desire.
The opener, Inner Night, is one of the album's stronger tracks, very danceable and hooky with what sounds like a lot of slap bass dueling with icicle synth frosting. Some of the tracks are absolute rave-ready bangers like the 80s friendly Returner X and the disco from hell vibe of Destroyer, like the soundtrack to your next Molly-fueled night out. I think the one that I liked the most was the 10-plus minute workout, Small Town Cop. Guaranteed to get your ass shaking like some virtual reality rave inside a Nintendo game during John Hughes movie.
A bit long in the tooth, but full of hot spots. Mega Drive has nothing to prove to anyone, yet they continue to crank out enjoyable records that even explore some new sonic elements. Don't see any vinyl for sale yet, but that doesn't mean that they don't have enough swag to fill an abandoned Corvette's warehouse over at Mega Drive's Fixed Store. CDs, vinyl, t-shirts, tumblers, even slip-on canvas shoes, so your feet can show off your fondness for disco's future past. So despite the fact that you just bought a bunch of stock in Claire's, just to have them declare bankruptcy, don't let it get you down. Come on, let's go get our ears pierced and we'll pick out a unicorn backpack while we're there. We can stop and grab a mesquite chicken Sammy on the way. The closest Quiznos is only 97 miles away. Let's hear Small Town Cop. The maintenance man. Or woman.
Yes, and this was brought to the fact we were supposed to have a apocalypse earlier this week. What is it with them?
I like the TikToks of the moms saying goodbye to their children. Wow.
Yeah,
Whole new kind of crazy.
people were selling their possessions. Aren't now? Don't you think they want to throttle whoever came up with that prediction?
Well, I got a piece of pipe I'd like you to take a look at.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Dave and Victoria from Winfield for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth's theme, courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 4 artwork, courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ears bands include Sölicitör, Mega Drive, and The Clap. All content 2025, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
I figured out the problem with the generator. We can't find it. I'm gonna have to institute a ticket for a generator search.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.